Thank you for joining me here at the American News Network with Chris Sanders on April the 30th, 2025. Today we have the president doing mineral deals in the Ukraine and also telling people to invest in America. But I'm going to say, hold your horses, President Trump, because as you're about to spend some money, it doesn't look like Putin's ready to make a deal with you at all. In fact, my intelligence tells me that he's lining up Belarus against the Finland border and preparing to totally invade Europe and the EU because of their smack talking, primarily starting with Germany, the United Kingdom, and France. Now, we could say it was a space anomaly. We could say it was a solar flare. How come nobody's talked about EMPs happening? You sure that Russia just didn't do an EMP over Spain, over France? The people that are talking smack about them, because I do, and so do some of you. I read what we say, and our intelligence is worldwide. We got listeners over there in France, in Spain, and everybody's commenting on what's happening. So we got to keep ourselves together. It's through communication that we're going to avoid catastrophes. But we had some big news come out earlier today. Big Mike has admitted that he is, in fact, a man. But I want you to know that we're retreating. Yeah, that's right. USS Harry Truman is retreating out of the area. We might have been hit. We might be out of basically defense. And you see that every month or so we got to come home and restock and reload. But are we going back? I say this because since we've been out there, we've had basically Netanyahu defy the orders of the president 5 or 6 times and defy 2 ceasefire agreements. We also have other countries looking at Benjamin Netanyahu as being an ICC war criminal. However, Viktor Orban goes today and he denounces the ICC. Keep in mind that was founded out here in the United States in 1998. If we're going to comply with it, if we're going to let it live, then we can't work with Netanyahu. So I'm going to suggest that we abolish the ICC ourselves so that we don't look ridiculous. We got to either follow Netanyahu or put him in jail, one of the two. But I'm going to suggest that we come back home. And I don't know if Trump is listening to what we're saying here or to me. If you are, thank you, sir. I'm glad you're moving the ships back home. Newsflash. We are coming back home. USS Harry Truman's turning around and aiming back. We shall be back at home in the home ports here pretty soon, and that's good news for you and me. We got a report even against the Army. Understand we can't compete with Lloyd Austin, Miley's, Blinken's, and Jack Wagon Joe's treason that they did on the pull out of Afghanistan. And we're looking at 8 million, I repeat, 8 million Houthis. We don't know how they got all the forces together, but we're looking at fighting 8 million guys out there, and they have our equipment. Now, this is Article 3.3, violation of the U.S. Constitution. It is aiding and giving comfort. Shoot, did we give aid and comfort? We gave beds, choppers, planes, and guns to kill our soldiers. If that's not treason, I don't know what is. This guy behind me, Zelensky, don't let him in the United States when he's out. In fact, we need to hand him over to Putin, as we need to hand Dr. Fauci to Putin. And these will start good relations between the United States and Russia. In fact, I think we need to hand Benjamin Netanyahu over to Putin and Xi Jinping. And it's not Jews that I have a problem with, for everybody out there. It is a renegade leader who's old, who's not popular, who's beating up religious Jews, and is an Ashkenazi Jew. Now, what does that word Ashkenazi mean? Well, they go by kosher standards, but they're really German Nazis. They all have blue eyes. They're all European. There was only 303 of them originally that defected from the days of Esther. Then they went up into Russia, and European became Germans, kept their kosher ways. But these are not Jews, and if they all got killed, they're not Semitic people. They do not speak a Semitic language, which is Arabic or Aramaic or Hebrew. The original Hebrew was reconstructed from Yiddish in 1890 through 1910. My grandma used to talk about it all the time because she had to learn it. Now, understand the EU is completely dead. They ran out of oil and gas. They couldn't keep the electricity on in Spain, in France, in Portugal, or Putin hit them with an EMP, or He's just shutting down the natural gas through the Kiev natural gas pipeline through Gazprom. So don't BS me, EU. You can't even keep the lights on. Your green energy through Greta Thunberg, I'm glad you listened to the little twerp. Now you're going to have to keep her as your fearless leader as you get taken over by Vladdy P and the KGB. And that's just all you're going to get. Now, a lot of people out there are claiming that we surrendered today because they are seeing our strike groups take off. I hope we just leave the area entirely. You heard me. Until Israel gets a new leader in, one that we can believe in, that doesn't murder everybody even on the Sabbath day, yeah, then we can return. Until then, we are basically going into a full-on out world war because of nobody else other than Benjamin Netanyahu. And I don't know if he's working with BlackRock, but BlackRock is supposed to be helping us with the Panama Canal. Here's a news flash, BlackRock. You can't spend that many bottles anymore because we're not just fighting China. We're fighting China, Russia, and North Korea. Wake up, bimbos. And we do need the Panama Canal. And why do you think China is moving all their air force out to the Egyptian Suez Canal? Because this is all about trade and the fact that we've empowered all of those Chinese. We need to take that power away, and if anything, we need to give it to our only ally out there who has and should have power, which would be Japan, and next the Philippines, and next Vietnam and South Korea. Those are our allies out there, and if anything, it's time to manufacture things with them and kick ass. We need to put China in the hole that they came from. I'm sure all of their ships and their planes are just as quality as all the crap that they send here. And we're going to find it floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean as soon as you meet our United States Navy. Know that, Xi Jinping. Other than that, we probably are going to be moving things back home, and that's good news. Keep in mind, Canada has a new PM, completely liberal, and I don't know, all the news is telling me that the voter fraud up in Canada is even worse than the United States, and maybe we need to help you out or just take your butts over up there. If your prime minister is going to dare threaten the United States, we just need to take your asses over. I mean, you're already the stepchild that takes $100 billion a year because you can't float yourself, and then tax your citizens over 30%, and then still don't have a military. That should tell you something on how the crown is stealing everybody's cash. These are just facts. Now, as far as the club up in Colorado, yes, we did learn that in the strip mall there was a ton of Tren de la Agua people that were there, over 100. But the thing that was even more freaky is we had over a dozen active military personnel there, some that were working, some that weren't, but they were integrating and communicating with illegal cartel members, and that needs to be investigated, and we need to stream anybody out, hey, that basically doesn't comply. And those are just things that we need to understand. As far as the situation over there in Russia, our field reporting agent, Patrick Lancaster, is out there with the Russians right now. We have a live active field report from Belgorod coming to you right here. And it's not like the Ukrainians are just giving up. In fact, they are moving into Russia during their last final hoorah attack where they're going to get smashed into the ground. And it's sad because at this rate, we're going to have 0 Ukrainians left, period. And it's all from politics, and it's all from fraud. Patrick Lancaster, I want to thank you for being a die-hardcore American and reporting out on the front lines with us. Just keep your butt safe so that you can come back home to Chicago. If you want to read up about him, just type in Patrick Lancaster out on YouTube. That's him right there. And, of course, he's scared to bejesus because he's out there doing field reporting.
Headed to the front line, the borderline with the Sumy region of Ukraine, where Ukrainian forces have been trying to come across the border and attempting to control parts of the Belgorod region. Which it seems without much success, but we're trying to show you the real situation on the ground as it comes.
Okay, so that's the real situation on the ground as it comes. And we actually have military American GIs in every branch of force throughout the world, so we can stay updated as far as what's happening in real time everywhere. Right now, Belarus is activating its forces to kick the holy living crap out of Poland, Germany, and Finland. As far as the people of Estonia, I've never heard people with such a big mouth that need their butts pounded into the ground within 48 hours. You people suck, and you have so much bravado, it's ridiculous. You can't talk so much unless you have a military. So you'll be a part of Russia here before we blink, and I don't want anybody to really feel bad about it, because that's just a fact. And these are facts that I'm hearing as I've been listening to the conversations between Lukashenko and Vladimir Putin. And so how do I know about this information? Well, that's because Lukashenko himself is basically saying that the United States has been educating everybody incorrectly on Nazism and how we're in fact funding the Nazis. And I hate to say it, we are. We're fighting George Soros's Nazi war between Nazis and Jews in the Ukraine, and we're fighting another Jewish war in Israel. I want to remind you that at the turn of the last administration, we were fighting for Big Pharma, and that's all Afghanistan was, because that's where Big Pharma wanted to grow its opium. Now, even though we only grow poppy there in Afghanistan, I want you to understand the poppy flower is actually the state flower for the state of California. So we could actually make all that money back home and empower the California agriculture farmer to grow opium and marijuana. Yeah, I'm saying we need to grow all of that here at home. We cannot trust the Chinese or the Indians or any other country to make our pharmaceuticals, our vitamins, our minerals, our food, or our cell phones. And if you don't like the way I'm thinking, get out. You're a lame. You're a consumer. You're the reason why we're in the situation that we're in. We need to be a nation that makes stuff. So we have Putin hosting Lukashenko. Meanwhile, while Trump is talking about doing the energy deal and the mineral deal with Zelensky, Zelensky, while you're doing the deal, you don't realize that you lost the war. Putin's saying, I'm not doing a deal with you guys. I'm going to take you over. It's all mine. What do you not understand? This is a real fact here. So as you're talking to politicians with no power that are U.S. puppets, basically, do you understand me? Putin's saying, I don't know why you're trying to do a mineral deal with me. I'm going to be finished with the war by the end of the week, and it's completely mine. So when I see these business deals in the White House, I'm thinking that our cabinet is really lacking military intelligence. Big time. We shouldn't be doing a mineral deal. We're retreating 100% and saying we're sorry. Finland is looking at getting annihilated. So is Poland, Germany. All of Europe is looking at getting taken over, while Trump sits there and thinks he's going to do a mineral deal, and guys like me want to drill there. No, I'm going to drill in Russia. I'm not drilling in the Ukraine, and I damn well know I'm going to drill in Russia. And I damn well know that the United States is going to have nothing to do with it, just like you don't have anything to do with us when we drill in Saudi Arabia, because you guys are lame worldwide. If you're going to report this type of stuff, be truthful, please. But the fact is, we have business people in the White House right now in the White House, they're doing a mineral deal, while right now the Ukraine is getting annihilated and completely taken over. So there is no way, Trump, that your business deal is real, because we have lost the war. I'm going to show you what I mean right now. Okay? Trump is in there right now. This is just a couple hours ago, and he's talking. And Besant says that the U.S. is ready to sign a United States mineral deal this afternoon. You guys are dreamers. I mean, I'm a landman. Sure, you're going to do a deal with Zelensky, but after he loses the minerals, you've got to do a deal with Putin. And Putin said on national TV yesterday and today he's not doing a deal. He's taking it over and winning the war. So this message of peace, what I'm actually getting in on is I'm seeing us retreating out of the Red Sea. We're coming back home. We're getting our butts handed to us by the Houthis. They just came up with 8 million more force members. Now with Russia and China, with the 6 million, this is 14 million strong in an army we're looking at. Wake up, we're retreating so we don't get annihilated. And China and Russia has unified. Trump, you're getting fed a whole bunch of BS by a whole bunch of Jews in your cabinet that are liars. And every day you're learning that they're lying. Every day Benjamin Netanyahu's lying to you, sir. He's lied on 2 ceasefires, then the third one he hits the hospital in Gaza. As such, you're seeing all of the Muslims unify for peace, and they're going to smudge out Netanyahu and Israel if they have to, because Israel has a warmonger as a prime minister. They don't hate Israel. They don't hate Jews. They know they're related. But the Zionists are not Jews. In Revelation 2:9-3:9, the Bible talks about when a synagogue of Satan shall return and act like they're Jews and not Jews. This is actually happening. Revelation is happening. If you defy it, well, you're defying the Bible, not me, and these are biblical times. These are not just rumors of wars and wars. These are wars that are happening. I'll be doing a Revelation read later on tonight. I'm going to let you know something else. We just also got our butts handed to us in the last 2 days, even out there in the Army. We're actually in a full-on out retreat. What do I mean by that? I think that we've lost 2 ships. I think we had one FA-18 hit down. I think we had another one that flew off the back. I don't think anybody giving reports back to our family members are truthful, because as we all know, if you do that, if you dare do that, you're streamlined and thrown in the brig right there. So all the reports to your relatives, I'm not buying. What I am buying is we're tracking the USS Harry Truman coming back. What I am buying is what you're seeing here behind me. $300 million of our ammo and all of our gunpowder got blown up as they accumulate 8 million extra Arabs and Muslims to attack the few thousand troops we have out there. So, Pete, you're very new at this. You're never very high ranking. Listen to the 06. Get my boys out of there, you novice. Get rid of the Jamal Khashoggi sign in Washington, D.C. Kiss the king of Saudi's butt a little bit better if you actually want his help. Because we're not just fighting for Israel. We are fighting a religious war which we shouldn't be fighting. This is Judaism versus Islam, or I should say this is Zionism versus jihadists. Okay, just like in every religion, there are radicals. There are radical Christians, there are radical Muslims, there are radical Jews. The radical Jews, I'm going to call them Benjamin Netanyahu Zionists, and he's going to meet up with the radical jihadi Muslims because hate breeds hate. This is a constitutional violation all the way around, period. So just in the last 2 days, we lost a $60 to $70 million FA-18. We also lost $300 million worth of gunpowder. We also lost and had 8 million additional Houthi troops show up, most likely from our ally, Saudi Arabia. So don't go telling me Saudi and Egypt and all these people are our allies. This is a religious war. This will be a war between Islam and Zionism. Do not bring it back home to the United States of America. It is not welcome here. And if we continue to fight this ridiculous war, this BlackRock, Benjamin Netanyahu, Zion war, Trump, it's just going to make your popularity go down because you promised the world peace. And if we fight this war, everybody that voted for you, that's from Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan, Saudi, Israel, Egypt, they're all going to have relatives die because you're following a bad politician named Benjamin Netanyahu. By the way, if you like Benjamin Netanyahu, get off my page, because you're an idiot. And if you follow idiots, this is not a place for idiots. This is a place for people that want to search for the truth, that believe in God, that know the truth, that have read the Bible. This is also a place where real Jews can talk and communicate, and real Hindus, real Muslims, and people that don't want to go blowing each other up based off of small differences. Because we prove every single day that we can do it. Our real enemy, I want to show you, America, is right behind me. And it was given to us by China. Our real enemy is the fentanyl out on our streets, the fake vaccines that they push, the radiation from their cell phones, And I'm telling you something, it is something that is powerful.
So dangerous. It's like the most horrid, wretched, pure terror you can imagine. And it feels like something slowly, like just pulling your life force out of you. And then you get tunnel vision, starts getting smaller and smaller. And around this tunnel, it's just darkness, right? And it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and closes. And then it goes, you're dead. That's it.
You think you're dead?
No, you're dead. You're a flatline, no heartbeat, dead.
This is happening on our streets. There are more kids dying of fentanyl than car accidents. You know, back in my day, we could talk about your Uncle Ron, how he was on coke or blow or speed for 10 years and got out and had his trip through AA. And he's got his war stories and he looks like crap, but he's around to talk about it. Not today. Today, these Chinese are putting poison in M&Ms and Sour Patch Kids and candy. We're finding it at the VA hospital. We're finding it in pain medication at the VA. As you know, I lost the vice president of Sanders Drilling to this from tooth surgery. This is hitting veterans. This is hitting children. Then his sisters walked me up into the hospital where there was nothing but a floor of grieving parents whose children OD'd the night before for a war weapon courtesy of China. Now, don't tell me this was smuggled up from Mexico or down from Canada. I'm very well aware that most of it came through shipping containers through LA Harbor, where I've interviewed Chinese businessmen who've told me they've been blackmailed and by beautiful Chinese women, threatened their marriage, and then they were sent a component of fentanyl. I did the math on the fentanyl components. $165,000 is all it takes for China to kill our entire population with those chemicals. In South Dakota, we discovered 3.2 million fentanyl pills. Now, considering we're only 800,000 strong, they could have killed us all over 4 times. And then we give these violators 4 to 5 years in prison when they could have killed the entire state. No, that doesn't work for me. Doesn't work for me, Christy. I want the death penalty. I want to hang these people publicly because we have to protect ourselves and our children. They're poisoning our candy supply. This is not just drugs. This is a biological war weapon, and we need to take it very seriously. Once we start hanging these bastards publicly for making these violations, they will run to the border. And that's the only way that we can have safety for our children. So help me God. If this is too vicious for you, I don't really give a rat's ass. You haven't lost people. You haven't lost people that you love. You don't have children or grandchildren that you're trying to protect. I do. I see people out there on the streets like this, and my heart hurts because every one of these kids is somebody's child, somebody's brother, somebody's sister, somebody's son. And because our jobs were stolen, a man can't feel like a man anymore. And because of the transgender stuff, a woman can't even be a woman anymore. And because you've persecuted what's normal, we can't even give compliments to each other. And overnight, big Michelle Obama, through her trans agenda, ruined America. You see, gay America worked for generations, but trans America, that's different. Trans America gets boys against girls and gets the nation fighting each other until we crumble, until you've destroyed God, country, home. And what God in every faith has created was man and woman. Now, Big Mike came out on an interview earlier today, just 5 hours ago. It admitted that he was a man from a trans relationship. So I'm going to play that for you here.
Love it.
Friends and family, Big Mike Obama is about to tell you that she is, in fact, a man.
Speaking of parenting, I wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about, just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man. You are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man.
Wait a second. What did you say?
Speaking of parenting, I wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about, just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man.
I think that explains why we've had such a trans issue. We've had a gay issue that's been fine throughout the United States since inception. But when we started changing our children, that's when it got a little crazy. And I think there's a common denominator here. As far as the kids of the Obamas, those are the children of Mr. Nesbitt, who's head of the Obama Foundation, and his partner, Anita K. Blanchard. Those are just facts that you should know. And couples like Big Mike and Barry and Macron and his man wife are the people that are kind of responsible for a lot of the turmoil. Perhaps the book of Jude is right in the Bible, and perhaps people with these tendencies are the evil that the Bible was talking about. Amen. Now, I'm going to let you see this young man here behind me. This is Tafari Campbell, and I believe that she's coming out now, but Tafari Campbell was actually hired by the Bush administration, worked in the White House for 10 years, and was the White House cook. Great young man, and he was murdered also for exposing that Michelle Obama is in fact a man. He was coming out with a book, and you might remember that he drowned to death on his paddleboard, being 45 years old, knowing how to swim, behind the Obama's house. Of course, we have Joan Rivers saying, oh, everybody knows she's a tranny. She goes in for a simple surgery, doesn't come out. This is all cover-up. A cover-up from Barack Hussein Obama having to cover up from his man wife. And it's time that the nation addresses some accountability. We didn't have a first woman. We had a first man. And no wonder we've had an LGBTQ. There's no anything about this. You've always either been gay or straight. This whole trans agenda came from the Manchurian candidate. He's not even a Muslim, because this crap is not accepted in Islam or Christianity. These are satanic Democrats, and right there in between them, that was a victim, the second victim over the exposure of Big Mike Obama, saying that, that, and here's the next one, Tafari Campbell, his wife has been shut up, but I'm expecting there's been payouts and whatever, but this was a White House chef for 10 years, Tafari Campbell, and he was, in my opinion, murdered by the Obamas because of his book coming out, a tell-all book about how gay the Obamas were and how Michelle Obama is actually a man. In other news, right now as we're speaking too, we have Israel catching on fire all over the place. So this is kind of amazing with how it's happening right now, but we have Israel basically burning, and with 8 million more Muslims out on the scene, it's not going to be looking good for Israel. So we look, we're looking at Israel on fire. We're looking at Hamas pushing the army and the Marines out. We're also looking at the Navy coming back. I don't know if this is a retreat. If it is, so be it. We can't back Benjamin Netanyahu and his countless lies. And 8 million is just the tip of the iceberg. Remember, we're looking at a 2 billion army here with 1 billion men. And blood is thicker than water. And if you keep this up, where do you think, again, the 8 million men came from? Even though the king of Saudi Arabia is on our side, Islam is on their side. So whether the king can claim allegiance with us all he wants to, it doesn't matter. They're going to all follow Islam to the grave and put away with all of the faggotry, the idolatry, the transsexual stuff. This is all coming from us. It's from Big Mike Obama and Jerusalem, fresh to you and me. Straight parents here in the United States don't like it. When I was trying to talk to the Muslim parents in Texas about why they're starting a school out there, it's because they're sick of the gay agenda being pressed onto their kids, and it left me speechless because it's the same argument that Christian parents have for the same reason. So I'm asking for the parents of all faith to bind together, because we seek a higher power, and we also answer to a higher power. So we're held accountable for our actions, to our promises and prayers. And we need to understand that we're fighting dark forces. And these dark forces have led us to the point where we're at today, where we're fighting Obama's war against Iran to destroy America. And it's courtesy of a transsexual couple that hates themselves and hates our country. And so these are just facts, and you got to see the facts and understand that the Obamas, because of the LGBTQ stuff, he's not really accepted into the Christian community or into the Muslim community. And I was asking myself, I said, should I give them an inch? And then I had to read the book of Jude again, and it told me, yeah, don't, or they're going to bring your whole society down. So they're gay people with their tendencies, and then as they get older, they become jealous of families that have something that they'll never have, which is a legacy and heirship. And then as they get older, they get twisted and deceitful and evil. And if you doubt that, well, we gave them an inch, and they've taken miles over the last 4 years. And during the Obama administration, it was happening since 2008. And then since 2008 till today, through their inventions and through their advice, now 77% of our children are ineligible to fight in the military because they're on drugs or have mental illness. Now, it should be down to like 5% or less. But because of the food and the indoctrination and the brainwashing from the Obamas and the Democrats, we fight these people every single day with the crooked lies and the weird stuff in which they say. Okay, so here, if you want to see the whole interview with Michelle Obama, you can see it playing here behind me with the Wayans brothers. And I love the Wayans brothers, and I think that she got carried away with the moment just talking to the Wayans brothers, because one of them has a trans child. And so Michelle's probably wishing that she had a dad much like Damon Wayans. And, it meant a lot to her, just saying, hey, as a trans black man myself, she wants equality here. So she, in my opinion, let the beans out. And you can kind of hear a lot of this stuff going on around at 55 minutes into the interview, because it is a rather long interview. And people are saying, oh, well, I think she was talking about the man. I was like, no. Clearly she said as a trans black man, and she puts her hand on her chest referring to himself. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's understand why we're fighting this LGBTQ war, and let's understand who the architect really is. And the architect is actually Big Mike Obama. Now, if we have a peace bridge on the table at all, it's not going to be with Xi Jinping. He's actually following us around to attack us. I'm advising that we drop Benjamin Netanyahu and we form an alliance with Vladimir Putin. And that will, in fact, save Europe. If not, and we continue with this, Putin will, in fact, invade Europe. He will invade France, Germany, Poland, and just totally kick our butts into the dirt to teach us a lesson. And I'm listening to what the Russians are saying. I'm listening to Lukashenko and at Belarus, and he's saying, hey, the Americans are educating everybody incorrectly about Hitler and the fall of Nazism, and in fact, we're still promoting it, and we're still helping it. And the more you listen to them, and the more they present the facts, it's obvious that the spillover Nazis did go into the Ukraine. And it's obvious that Soros did get involved. And Soros and Zelensky are Jews, and they knew if they would create a big war that they'd get the Nazis to fight the Jews, and through attrition, they would kill each other out. So this is a Soros war with Obama, 100%, and Putin knows it, 100%. And so this is the Jews versus the Nazis, hence we got Ashkenazi Jews. And again, the only saving grace we will have is if we have an open door and clear and concise communication between President Trump and Vladimir Putin. Those are the only two real leaders that I think I can myself believe in as an American. I cannot believe in Zelensky. He's a pile of crap. I can't believe in Benjamin Netanyahu. He's a criminal dirtbag liar. In other news, as far as what's going over there in India, they're like 48 hours from nuclear war. Did you know that? So before we go like bringing in billions of Muslims and billions of Hindus from India and from Pakistan, look at how they get along next door. They don't get along. The Muslims hate the Hindus hate the Muslims, and personally, I don't need their war in my country. Keep your crap in your country, you dirtbags. Keep it there. Your country stinks. You guys are unsanitary. You hate each other, and hate breeds hate. And even my dog doesn't like you, huh, David? No, David's going to tear you from stem to stern, and that's just a little Boston Terrier. And boy, but I tell you what, he doesn't like anything that ain't red, white, and blue, and doesn't like Jesus. I'll tell you that. But then again, he came from a Mexican family. That would explain it. Mexican Christian Catholics. He's pretty much a Catholic Boston Terrier. But we have Pakistan and India in a frenzy. And again, this is just going to make the stock market value for 7-Eleven and hotels and motels drop from across the country as Americans fear not knowing whose hotel is it anyways. Now, as far as fake news and ABC, well, our president had some pretty good news that he wanted to say, but he was being interviewed by this woke journalist named Terry, and I'm going to ask you, Mr. President, why do you let ABC, NBC, and Fox and all these retards interview you? You need people like Joe Rogan and myself interviewing you, period. Maybe Gary Franchi, or people that are on your side, not some George Soros woke agenda retard that suffers from TDS in the morning. I mean, this guy gets up in the morning and literally thinks, how am I going to make Trump's life more difficult? What questions could I ask to give him an enema? And personally, I think all these journalists need to be thrown in jail. It's not freedom of speech. They are literally promoting hate crimes, and they're promoting lies with federal funded money. Trump's going to say a little bit on how they're woke, but then they cut him off here, and it's very hard to basically understand the truth. But he pretty much states here that ABC News is fake news, is in fact they're pretty much the fakest of fake.
Almost every country in the world was ripping us off. When we have criminals, murderers, criminals in this country, we have to get them out, and we're doing it. And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
He had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshop. So let me
That was Photoshop.
No, it wasn't. See, he's completely lying. ABC needs to be taken off the air.
In the interview, I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you.
He picked a guy he never heard? No, you need to pick me, dude.
MS-13 tattoo.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshop?
And he's still lying.
Photoshop, but go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across a stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
Okay, now hold on a second. It cuts it off right there. So I want you to basically hear the entire quote. And we're going to play that entire quote for you right here so that you can hear it. So, Mr. President, I'll let you say the truth to the American people.
We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across a stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news. All right. Thank you. By the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you. Thank you.
You hear how he said that? By the way, ABC is one of the worst. That they cut that out. Wall Street Journal, all this professional courtesy. Stop it. We need to disseminate ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, PBS, and take all of their federal funding or throw all of those liars in prison immediately for inciting riot. Same thing with Jamie Raskin. He basically gets Jack Pobasek beat up the other day by inciting a riot and ordering his crowd to beat somebody up. This is a constitutional violation. Again, President Trump, will you tell us the truth about ABC?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across the stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news. All right.
All right. And he picks a guy he's never heard of, which I'm tired of just their entire cast of characters. They all suck. They're all criminals, and they all need to be thrown in prison. That's just the blatant facts of it. Everybody in America is tired of every single fake journalist that they have chosen. And when I go down the roster of judges, over 25% of the judges to 50% that are attacking you are from Israel. And also we have Letitia James. She's looking at conspiracy charges now. Conspiracy carries 25 years. She's gone after several people, including the president. If I can't be a litigator or a prosecutor, I will be on the team to prosecute this woman to make sure she stays every single day in a jail cell until she dies. That's what I would like to do. You go after my president, you've gone after my country, you're worse than a covert spy for Russia, the Democrat Party. I don't care, but you've attacked my president. You attack my president, I'm going to attack you. And that's just the way it is. This is news coming from you behind me from The Real A Dog. You can check out his show on YouTube. And that's The Real A Dog right there. And he's always busting out with some real stories that you can find. But he's got the scoop on Letitia James and how she's going to be guilty for a 25-year conspiracy crime. And that's more power to us and everything that we're doing out there. And as I bring this up because like the Hodge twins are bringing up this kid behind me, and the Democrats are trying to do it as their last-ditch effort. If they can't start world war, they're going to start a racial war here, and they're influencing these young kids to talk retarded. This young black man behind me is saying we need to go out on an all-out civil war, and the Hodge twins are basically saying, look at this kid that drank a cup full of retard this morning. Anyways, another good group of guys. By the way, these are people that I'm going to be streaming from our radio station, getting good people like Alex Jones, Joe Rogan from his episodes that we can have, but we're doing a conservative 24/7 radio station in Washington, D.C., courtesy of myself and Brock Pierce. And we'll be having greats like Jim Jordan on every week and Rand Paul so that we can save our country right in the heart of Washington, D.C. And so we'll have greats and other people that are on their show with their own segments, and this will be 24/7 streaming. Now, right now we're streaming on all Roku TVs as major news network, and it's mainly just me, but you will see a mixed up, diverse program where it's going to be me and all these other famous podcasters, as well as 25% of the time spent on teaching you how to make America healthy again. And by that I mean we're going to be going up next week into South Dakota with Dana Robacher and Rhonda Robacher, and with Wes Austin we're going to show them the probiotics we're putting on the ground to take the Roundup, atrazine, and graze on out of the soil. And we can do this in 4 months using probiotics and mushrooms. And then in South Dakota we can use industrial hemp, and in North Dakota as well. And after a season, the glycophosphate becomes glyco and phosphate. Now, without these chelating microbes, it actually takes 60 years to achieve this the same way, just over time. So we have truly found the answer to making America healthy again. Once we get the crops healthy again, then we're going to show you the healthy crops, the cattle that eat the healthy crops, and the way the meat looks after we butcher it. And this is the only meat you can age, because even after 100 days it doesn't rot, because there's no GMO and pesticides and herbicides and mercury and lead that's in our beef. So Lakota Beef is the name of the company that's moving out strong with that. And we also are the only one of 2 kosher halal butchers on the whole entire West Coast, but this is coming directly farm to table from the farms of Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, right out of the Williston Basin, directly to your table. So we hope that you like that. And again, everything will be done in strict accordance with kosher halal. And that's just so that we can, make sure that everybody's healthy and happy, and that all the people of all the faiths will be getting along. What you're seeing behind me is the White House making a response, because Pakistan and India have given each other a 24-hour notice. Pakistan is thinking, oh my God, India is going to put nukes on us in 24 hours. And Pakistan responds with, we have 130 to 140 nuclear missiles we can fly at you. Again, this is not the kind of culture that we need here. These guys are warmongers. Their countries are very much out of control in population. And so their objective, in my opinion, is to move their population over here, period. And then we're not going to have America, because you can't take 4 billion people, and as far as the population of India, Pakistan, and China, and then have them matriculate into a country of 300 million. We'll find ourselves in the blink of an eye looking like we're the foreigners in our own land. And in fact, that's already happening, especially if you live in California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, especially Texas. Texas has basically become India. In other places, it's almost the same way. And ICE, I think you guys are investigating the wrong cultures. We really need to look at all the illegals that have come down and matriculated, all the illegal Indians that have matriculated from Canada down in the United States, because I suspect that there was 10 million that were kicked out of Canada. And as Canada has proclaimed a war on us, I'm suggesting that they are actually moving their people down here on purpose. And it's very easy to get into Canada versus America, so we need to just close the door to Canada's illegal aliens making their way into the United States. I'm not saying Mexico, I'm saying Canada, and we need to treat Canada as the enemy that they're wanting to be. Now, if they keep on electing people that are liberals, and if they keep on begging us for money, we've got to not treat them so nicely. It's not the people of Canada, it is their stolen government, just like our government is stolen. And there are a lot of people out there that are understanding as far as the treachery and the lies and the deceit that's going on with what we're doing. Pam Bondi, I've given you information. I expect you to make some prosecution. I told you that treason has happened. On our show the other day, we have come up with 24 verified people that will be witnesses in court saying that Joe Biden, Miley, and Blinken all conspired together to create treason on the pullout from Afghanistan. You only need 2 or more witnesses, so this complies. Get the lead out of your tush, please, ma'am. We need prosecutions to happen so that America can still believe in America. We need to believe in you. We need to believe in Trump. That means we need to see peace, law, and order, and this order will start with prosecuting. I pray that we prosecute Jack Smith, Adam Schiff, Letitia James, and when we see those people in jail, then America can start relaxing at night and believing every single word that you say. Until then, well, we pray. We humbly pray in the name of Jesus Christ that you're not pulling the wool over our eyes, because we want our children and our grandchildren to make it. And that's the bottom line. God bless you. Thank you for listening to me on the American News Network. Please like, please share, please subscribe on this April the 30th, 2025. God bless you, and good day.